What's up guys, it's Adam here at FM Immortal and we are 1 week away from the Euro 2024 tournament kicking off in Germany, so we thought we'd come along to show you how you can fast track yourself to that tournament in FM24 in next to no time. And if you haven't done international management before, we're going to be sharing our top 3 tips for how you can bring home that silverware. Plus we'll share all of the key dates you need to know about in between the start of your FM24 save and Euro 2024, and then we'll close by navigating the national pool and explaining how all of that works as well. Okay, so there's 3 ways you can skip forward to Euro 2024 in next to no time then. Obviously there's the default way of actually just playing the game as you normally would and cycling through it day by day. That's slow, it's going to take you about 2 hours, you don't want to do that. The quickest way is to start a new save, selecting only one country that's playable, probably your home country for whichever nation that you go with, and then you actually want to skip forward to what we think is the 14th of May. It's either going to be the 14th or the 15th. That is when your preliminary squad needs to be selected. So if you want to have control over your team that you take to the tournament, skip forward to that date, go on holiday, ignore everything else, delete all your emails, and that will be the date that you actually have your first action. That's probably not the best way of doing it though. If you really want to have control over the squad and some understanding of the depth that you're going to require at that level, there's another way to do it. And that is to go on holiday but select this option here which says your next squad selection date. Now what that's going to do is take you to probably October and then subsequently November, where you'll have 2 or 3 or 4 qualifiers or friendlies if you're already qualified for Euro 2024, which are important for a couple of reasons. One, obviously you want the nation that you're managing to get there, so you'll have a bit of work to do. But 2, you'll definitely want to understand who you're bringing in that tournament, who you've got available on the bench, your squad depth, your setup, you'll choose your formation at this point as well. Now there is a sneaky third way of taking control of a team right before an international tournament kicks off. So if you're at this point in a save and it's the World Cup or the Euros, you can actually make use of this tip, which is to add another player manager into your game, probably renaming your save file before you do this, and then deleting yourself or resigning yourself from your current club. So you can add a manager, select the country you want them to manage, stick them in there right as the tournament's kicking off, then resign as your original player, and Bob's your uncle, you've just done the old switcheroo. So if you're going down one of the simulation routes, this is the list of dates that's going to be important to you. So yeah, again, there's going to be 2 to 4 matches to play across October and November, probably between the 7th and 10th of October and the 7th and 9th of November. The next key dates beyond that will be the middle of March, so probably about the 14th, 15th, where you'll be asked to play a friendly. You don't actually have to do that one at all, you can skip past that if you want. Then crucially at the 11th of April, that is when the Euro 2024 draw happens. So that is when we recommend going to if you want to get an accurate draw for your nation. We've done it a few times where we've loaded into 11th of April and reloaded if it doesn't give us the results, but we're managing Italy, so we wanted to be in a group with Spain at the very least. We've got that now after a few tries. Then again, that all important date is the 14th of May. I think it's actually the 15th when the draw happens, but you want to be in a good position before that. So on the 14th of May, if you simulate to that point, you'll have complete control over your entire preliminary squad. Then of course the final squad is going to be decided around about the 5th or 6th of June, and the tournament itself kicks off on the 14th of June. Now we promised there would be 3 tips for you for international management. If you've not done this before, do not worry, it's not that difficult, though there are a couple of changes from club management. So you'll notice a different look and feel to your sidebar, and there will be components of the tactics screen and the squad screen and everything else that are just missing or in a different place, and it's a bit unfamiliar. But the big ones that I can really share as ways of winning an international tournament is motivation in your manager is key. So we're sharing now on screen what we think the archetype international manager should look like. He is a motivator. He spent less points on attributes and more points on mentality. but I do think if you want to copy that one, it's a really strong candidate for a international winner. The next big thing for us is tactical familiarity. Now, we love this tab in club management, where you can cycle through player instructions and roles, then the fatigue levels and fitness, and of course tactical familiarity. But there isn't that option in international management for whatever bloody reason. You also can't train with your squad, so that's another reason why the motivational manager is better. But our recommendation is to look out for this column here on the right hand side of the screen. So next to where you're choosing who's playing where and who's on the subs bench, you're going to see tactical familiarity down here. Now, it is a better thing to have a fuller bar here. There's absolutely no doubt of that. However, if you're choosing a player over another player just because of that reason, it might not be the best decision. So let's say, for instance, you take over at France and you've got an advanced forward role to fill, and you've got two options of Mbappe or Neil Maupay. You know which one I'm going to say is better. Even if Neil Maupay has the maximum tactical familiarity and Mbappe doesn't have a clue what he's doing there, it's not rocket science. The last tip though is about rotation, and this is the biggest differentiator for you against the AI. The AI will always play their strongest team in the knockout rounds and will very, very rarely think about fatigue. So you have the edge if you've correctly rotated your squad at the right time. Obviously not at the detriment of you progressing in the tournament. You want to be playing your best players if you're struggling or looking for a goal, but if you've got the chance to rest your best players at the end of the groups, then you should absolutely do that. Now we're going to talk about how to navigate that national pool in a second as well, so when you're selecting your squad, what the actual mechanics of that is. But crucially, I think filtering on who is injured right before the tournament starts is the way to make sure you're not bringing anyone on the plane with you that's already on crutches. So be very careful with who you're taking through, and we recommend just sorting by condition to see who is got the red injury label next to them. Okay, let's see how we approach that national pool selection then with Italy. Definitely worth heading into the tactics tab. Now you will be met with the view that you get at the start of every FM24 save, where you're picking your setup to start off with, your tactical direction, if you will. We've gone with a 5-2-3 DM wide. Now it's important to come here first because it will give you an overview of where your players are lacking, where you don't have the depth or where you have to prioritise bringing in certain candidates for that all-important tactical setup and familiarity. So I'm getting from my chosen setup, I'm getting the impression that I'm going to need more centre backs because I'm playing 3 at the back. I've only got Mancini on the bench down here, so I'm probably going to sacrifice one of Cristante or Pellegrini or Locatelli maybe, and bring in an extra centre back. And instead of looking at things from the kind of squad and registration point of view, normally you'd get that registration thing up here. We're actually going to go to national pool. This is where your majority of your picking and choosing who's in your squad will happen. You'll even have good staff advice, so should be called up. Romagnoli, we are looking for another centre back, so we're probably going to pull this guy in. So I'm going to have to drop somebody. I'm going to have a look if there's anyone that they're recommending dropping. Calabria they recommend, but I think that's one of our only 2 right backs. There we go, Locatelli and Pellegrini. We were actually thinking about dropping one of these anyway. Pellegrini is 27. He's more of an advanced playmaker anyway. We're not playing one of those. Locatelli, I think, fits the bill more for our position and our tactical setup. So I select just Pellegrini. I go with remove from Italy squad, not remove from national pool, otherwise you won't see them in this list anymore. So remove from Italy squad. Don't show that message again. Yes. So Pellegrini's out. I've got one player to bring in, and we said we're going to bring in Gatti, who's back up here. There we go. Button over here to call up. So we've added Gatti in, and he's part of the main setup now. We could have brought in Vitti. I do like Vitti. Scalvini's a young one to be going with, but we're going to trust FM on that one. And that's really the ins and outs of the national pool. You need to deselect a few players before you can bring anyone in, because you can't go over any of those limits down the bottom of the page. You should prioritise uninjured players who are in form, who have high current ability ideally, and don't get swayed by the potential ability, because that's not really going to help you in a tournament. They're not going to develop, obviously. But yeah, it's just a case of rinse and repeat. As you go through each stage of squad selection, just add to your roster, make sure that they're fitting your bill and your tactic. And yeah, good luck. Hope you can win the Euros, guys. Hope you've enjoyed this video as well. We'll call it there for now. And I hope you enjoy Euro 2024. Until next time then, my friends, adios.